And welcome to the Arsenal Way. Back again with you guys for another episode of the Arsenal Agenda series. Joining you Monday to Friday at 10 a.m. UK time. Joined by Bailey. How you doing, mate? You good? You well?
Yeah, I'm good, TC. Also, almost match day. I'm excited. So just get to Saturday.
Indeed, it's gonna be buzzing at the Emirates. You know, I tried hard to get a ticket, but it's crazy. You can't get tickets these days at Arsenal. It's mental how many people are trying to go to games. It kind of shows you the feel. I think of the majority of the fan base right now is very much excited and really, really excited about what's going to be happening potentially this season. We'll have to wait and see. Good morning, everybody joining us in the chat box. Hope you're doing good. Hope you're doing well, Stevie. Good morning to you. Let's go to Dan. He says, good morning, guys and girls. I'm wondering if Tom has any info on Frenkie de Jong to Arsenal. Yeah, I have some info. Not happening. It's as simple as that. Simple as that. Melanie, good morning to you. Good morning to Carl. Good morning to Craig. Good morning to Garthy, to Zenda. Good morning, guys. I hope you're having a fantastic time. If you haven't already done so, drop a like on the video. We start. I didn't want to talk about this yesterday because, of course, it just came out. And I did want to give people time to watch the episodes. I know you're still yet to watch episode 6 of All or Nothing. So what we can talk about, of course, Bailey, is the Aubameyang controversy, which, of course, is covered across the first 2 episodes of episode 4 and 5. What do you make of getting a little bit of an inside look at more of what happened during that saga?
Yeah, I think Mikel Arteta handled it pretty well. I don't think you can really criticize him. Maybe you could say he was ruthless, but it's important you have a culture at the club and rules that can't be broken, and you can't suddenly just get reintegrated into the team because you need a striker. I think that goes against your standards, to be honest. And then other players will obviously get the inkling that they can do the same as Aubameyang and think they can come back into the squad too. So I think Arteta's ruthlessness was correct. I think it was a necessity, and I think the way we handled it was really good. It was also interesting to see how Arsenal did lean on Lacazette a little bit also to once Aubameyang was gone, to really insert his leadership, because I know they were close as well, to make sure the group doesn't become too disharmonized. But I think in general, the way the situation was handled was how it had to be done. I don't think you can really criticize Edu, the technical directing team, of course, or Mikel Arteta. I think it went about the necessary way. I think bringing him back into the squad would have harmed the team morale a little bit, and maybe would have questioned Arteta's reputation and his initial decision-making, because I think if you strip a player off the captaincy, now that's where it gets hard to really integrate them back into the team. And if you say you're banishing them from the first team, to suddenly bring them back and allow them to start again, you do question the person's initial decision. So I think Arteta was right to stand on his mark, because I know Edu and the rest did want to maybe bring Aubameyang back into the team, but Arteta was like, no chance. And I think Arteta was right in that situation.
Bennis Durkamp in the chat says, I thought it showed how classy the club is. Mikel Arteta had a dossier, and if they wanted, they could have thrown Alba totally under the bus by releasing that info. Did that come across you a little, I don't want to use the word threat, but, it did feel a bit like, publishing saying, we've got this document, everything here, come at us. We've got all this info. That's kind of how I felt about it.
It was. I think Arteta knew he has the evidence right there. I don't think Arsenal wanted to release the behind the scenes reasoning. I think Aubameyang probably wouldn't have allowed it when he's not at the club anymore. Plus, it does create this more toxic atmosphere around the team, regardless if that does come up again. So, but again, if Aubameyang does come out, or anything does come out, he's got the evidence in that document, that
dossier is being opened.
I need to see that document, because I'm so intrigued. I don't know how much, the times, when, how, where. That is interesting.
Indeed. We also got a little glimpse as well, more glimpse, I should say, into some of Arteta's kind of left field tactics ahead of and after games and stuff. We've got a little glimpses to next week's episodes where he uses a light bulb, which you may have heard about as well, in kind of a tactic. He talked about the rabbit and the duck. Have you seen that bit yet? So basically, there's like an image of it's like an image which, if you look at it, some people might see a duck and some people might see a rabbit. It's like the same image, and he basically using the example of saying, you can teach people the same thing, but, people might interpret it in different ways. And he needs to get everybody seeing the duck rather than seeing the rabbit. And I get the theory behind it. But there's a lot of kind of left field stuff. And I think there's a lot of memeable things in the series. I mean, Arsenal are getting battered by, other teams, as you kind of expect. Spurs got battered City didn't because they won the league, so you can't really batter them. But Spurs certainly did. I remember the whole thing when Mourinho was watching Sky Sports they were talking about like doubts about Mourinho, and he just goes, "I'll do one," basically. But yeah, Arsenal are getting memed. How do you feel about that? How do you feel about your team getting memed?
It was always going to happen. I think as soon as it was announced that there was going to be an all or nothing documentary series, it was getting memed from then. So this is just icing on the cake, really. It was going to happen. I think at the moment, the biggest meme is the shirt, where even Edu posted it about the passion. Oh, I forgot the other words, but it was on a shirt where Arteta in the first episode. Against before the Tottenham match. It was passion,
the brain and the heart, and the fans,
and the fans,
the energy,
emotion, yeah.
Edu's got it on his has got the t-shirt now, of course, on his Instagram page. Look, it's very memeable. There's some funny bits, there's some bits that are going to get ripped apart. It is what it is. I think you take it at face value. I think if you go into the series as very much kind of as a doubter as Mikel Arteta, you're going to take away a lot of the faults. If you go into the series very much as someone who's very happy with Arteta, I think you're going to see it for the positives. It's very much, I think, how you view Arteta is how you will come away from it. I don't think it's going to change people's minds. I think it will strengthen either side of the coin on Arteta either way, because there's things to be taken in both circles. But I'm enjoying it for what it is. I knew what we were going to expect. I like some of the little intricacies of things we haven't yet seen, but I'm also very savvy enough to know that it's a tip of the iceberg still, in terms of kind of, I kind of look at it as go from the outside. Before this series, we kind of could look at the iceberg. At the moment now, we can see kind of what the tip of the iceberg is, but there is so much under the water at this club that we just don't know about ultimately, and we'll probably never know about. But it's been intriguing and enlightening in some stages. Of course, we play Leicester City tomorrow, as you've already alluded to, and there's a bit of a narrative, of course. Youri Tielemans. I mean, we're already getting questions saying, and Namal says, any update on Youri Tielemans? I don't think we can get a show by where there isn't a question asking about what's the latest on Youri Tielemans. The honest answer is nothing has really changed. The only example of any update is that the Evening Standard reported yesterday that Leicester could have lowered their value of the player to £25 million. I reported the other day on FL that Arsenal were willing to go as far as 2023 to kind of get him for free. Even though they're willing to, I just don't see that as a reality of something that could happen, but that's what they're willing to do. What do you think, mate? What do you think?
It does worry me, because in terms of, are we actually interested in Tielemans? How much do we want him? I think if there's a player you want, you go out and buy him as soon as possible if he's available. He's clearly available. Leicester's made him available. It's the fact that we're stalling on this deal does worry me about Arteta's intentions to use Tielemans, Edu's intentions also to get in Tielemans as well, because players there and you want him and he improves your squad. You be proactive rather than reactive, and you go and get the deal done. So that does worry me in that sense. I know we've been talking about outgoings, etc., with players. We needing to sell players before we bring in players, but I think 25 million is a budge where you can just bring him in and then sell players after you bring him in. Also, I don't think it's too much of an expensive transfer. So that does interest me as well. I think the 2023 free transfer route is very unrealistic, as you did say, because clearly a lot of things does change in a year. Maybe we find a different target who's much better for a cheaper option, or Tielemans might go to another club who says he might even try to sign him. I'm sure another club will come in for him before the end of the transfer window. For 25 million is an absolute steal, and I know a club will probably panic by it or look to desperately bring in a midfielder and bring in Youri. So Arsenal is taking a big risk if they are really, really interested in him and want to wait till 2023.
Indeed. Yeah, they aren't waiting until 2020. They aren't going to get him for free. There's no way. I just can't see that happening. The information is from my end that they're willing to wait that long, but I just don't see that happening, to be honest, really. I mean, how do you think that, is it wise for Brendan Rodgers to play him tomorrow? Because he clearly wants to come to Arsenal. We've known that there's an agreement in place from the player's perspective for a long time. Does it make sense to play him?
Yeah, I think Tielemans is one of Leicester City's best midfielders, and I think one of the positives about Youri is that he will play. He's got a strong head on his shoulders, and he will play a good performance despite his transfer speculation to Arsenal. He's not really like Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, where played against Liverpool in 2017 and managed to go to the club the next week and he had a disastrous performance. I think that's kind of different. I think Tielemans will perform for Leicester regardless, because the transfer is still in the air right now, so the deal might not even happen, and you have to play your best players. And Leicester right now, of course, they haven't really made any more signings. They had a disappointing result against Brentford, where Brentford come back from 2 goals down, so they're going to need their strongest midfielders on the pitch. So I reckon he'll still play and he should play.
Yeah, look, I think he will play. It'll be intriguing how he performs. There's added pressure. He'll know that he's not going to be, none the wiser to what the story of the game is. And he's quite easily one of their best players. Their team that they played against Brentford, I was shocked that they managed to get a 2-0 lead, to be honest, because their team is looking bare bones right now. No Harvey Barnes, of course, isn't in there at the moment. Yes, they've got the likes of Wesley Fofana back, and James Maddison's there, and Dewsbury Hall's a good talent, of course. But you look at that team, and they played like a 5-4-3-1-1 kind of formation. It was odds. I like Castagna. I think he's a very versatile player, but again, is he of the level? They got Soyuncu on the bench now. You think Soyuncu used to be so highly rated and people love that guy, but he's fallen away massively. So there isn't too much of an excuse for Arsenal not to pick up maximum points in this game. There really should be, and we're going to be hoping with it within the first game of the home season. That's going to be a great atmosphere and really buoy us into a good performance. Let's talk about transfers, of course. Youri Tielemans, we've mentioned there. Hector Bellerin, according to Mundo Deportivo, has been offered to Barcelona as a potential move. I'm getting tactics. I'm feeling tactics off the back of this, Bailey. What do you think?
Yeah, it can't be true. Barcelona, surely they can't stretch their budget any further.
You say that. Witchcraft is going on at Barcelona at the moment.
That is true. But yeah, no, I definitely do think it's a tactics. Interesting. Bellerin, of course, coming from the La Masia Academy, and suddenly he's been linked back with a move. I think that's always what happens to Barcelona, to players who left Barcelona and are decent. They always get linked back, and of course, that link makes so much sense. So it was always gonna happen. But I don't think it's a deal that will happen. I don't think that is something that will happen. But again, it is interesting. Maybe, we don't know, Barcelona are stretching that budget further and bringing in Marcos Alonso and Bellerin somehow, some way.
Indeed. We'll see what happens. But look, Bellerin for me will end up at Betis, and he will have his contract terminated. That's not based on any info I have. That's just my theory. That's just the way I can see it going. I think Arsenal will eventually buckle, and it will go down to, it'll be a free deal that we just, absolutely do it. Afsar says, by the way, congratulations hitting 26k subs. Thank you so much. Didn't even notice, but thank you for that reminder. We are on our way now, I guess, to 30k after hitting 25. We're very close to actually hitting our year anniversary since we started the channel. I know it was my year anniversary a couple of days ago for working at FL, but the channel is, I think September is where we started things. So amazing that we've managed to go up 26k subs in a year, and that's a lot down to, well, it's all down to you guys really listening and watching. Without you, we wouldn't be here. So thank you ever so much. Drop a like if you're new, subscribe indeed if you are too. Let's go to Hank, who says, is Smith Rowe fit? We will hear from Mikel Arteta later today. Press conference, I think, is at 1:30. You'll be able to watch that back on the channel as well, so make sure you're subbed with notifications turned on to get it. Smith Rowe coming back in, Bailey, is that how much of a benefit to the first team that is? Because I think he's going to struggle to get minutes this season in the Premier League.
Yeah, he's going to struggle for sure. I think it all depends on Martinelli, really. I think the midfield now, that's hard for him with Vieira, of course, back, and now competing with Ødegaard. I don't know how he fits into the midfield, but now it's all about him and Gabriel Martinelli, especially if we do sign that mystery winger before the end of the transfer window. Then that will be a real uphill task for ML Smith Rowe. But for now, he has to compete with Martinelli. Let's say this. Look, this time last season, Martinelli was probably in the position that Smith Rowe was, where he couldn't break into the team, couldn't start. So Smith Rowe has to look at Martinelli as motivation and do the same, and maybe eclipse Martinelli by having an excellent run of form when he is given a chance. But yeah, it is definitely going to be a struggle in the early weeks of the season anyway for Smith Rowe to get game time. And it's a shame because the World Cup's in November, of course, and we only have one more international break left, and I don't think Smith Rowe will make that, unfortunately. So I think his last season dip in form has really affected him to make the World Cup as well.
Afsar says, would you sell Smith Rowe? A £50 million offer came in.
No.
How much would it have to be?
RTC, you're putting me on the spot. I'll probably say upwards of 80. I'd entertain
80 million quid.
Entertain, not accept.
To entertain
upwards of 80 million. But again, it's a risk. It's a risk because Smith Rowe's potential is so high, and I think we shouldn't sell our academy players. So 80 million, I'll entertain, not accept. I'd see how far we could go. But that is if Smith Rowe's current form does not improve. That is if his current form does not improve. I think he will.
So £80 million to entertain it. So he's worth nearly double Gabriel Jesus. He's worth nearly triple Diego Carlos, or 4 times as much as Philip Coutinho.
Yes,
he's worth, I'm just going down the Premier League transfers. What other moves? He's worth more than Marc Cucurella, nearly 20 million more than him.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's
Kid
worth
Reece as
30
well.
million more than Raheem Sterling.
Yes, yes.
This is mad. I'm sorry. £50 million for me is a very fair price.
So
for
you
Emile
take
Smith
50
Rowe.
for Smith Rowe, TC?
I'm not saying I'd take it. I just think it's a fair
Fair
price.
price.
You know,
So
I'd
what
still
would
could
you
say
take?
no.
So what would you
I
take?
don't think I'd sell it. But I just,
So if
but
8 million came slap bang on the
if
table.
80 million, it depends who it came from. I think, you know, if it
Okay,
came from
let's
Aston
say
Villa, I'd be open to it. I think you'd have to be pretty stringent not to accept £80 million for Smith Rowe.
I just don't want to.
I don't want to sell him. Like, don't get me wrong. I don't want to see him go. But 80 million quid, like
80
that's a
million
lot, bro.
80 million. But look, Wesley Fofana is going for 80 million. Smith Rowe is an English young player. His potential is through the roof, and that's how much players are going for nowadays. Jack Grealish, of course, 100 million. No Umar would not replace Smith Rowe.
Wow. I mean, you think
But-
Aouar's worth like 90 million, so surely, like,
listen, Aouar is a very good player, but 90 million, I will not be playing 90 million for Aouar. But back to the Smith Rowe conversation. Yes, 80 million they are entertaining, and he's a young English talent, English international. Players nowadays, the inflation in transfers is extremely high. So 50 million for Smith Rowe, I wouldn't accept it. But 80 million, we're talking.
chat box, let us know. Comment section, what would be the minimum price you'd accept for Emile Smith Rowe? I'm very intrigued to know what you'd be accepting. Let's go. I mean, there was an interesting link yesterday also, Manchester City being linked to Kieran Tierney. Constantine says, would you sell Tierney for £50 million if it came in?
I don't think. I think I would accept 50 million, but I don't think it's realistic.
So Smith Rowe is 30 million more than Tierney.
Yes. TC. Look, I'm just going by the English player tax. The youngster. He's
You're not buying into the Scottish tax. Does that not come into it?
Don't play that. Don't do that. Plus, Tierney's very injury prone, but 50 million for Tierney would be a good offer to take, considering he might not even be starting this year. But I do believe it's unrealistic, because Manchester City wouldn't sign an injury-prone left-back when they desperately need the position to be covered on a regular basis. So, yeah.
Indeed. Hank says 80 million, dreamer. Gene says, I'd love ESR, but 50 million seems good. Tony says 65 million for Smith Rowe is a fair price. Wow. I mean, we haven't sold a player for, I mean, what our record sale is it Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain or Iwobi? I'm trying to think anyone we sold for more than 38 odd million quid.
Look, TC, all I'll say is by the time you reach, let's say October, ask that question again, and we'll see how much you value.
Yeah, 80 million might seem a bit crazy. By that point, I'm scrolling down. 26 million for Joe Willock, 27 million for Alex Iwobi, but it was definitely more than that. This is called in transfer marks. Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, 34. Serge Gnabry, 4.5. How sad is that? That's unreal. Yeah, but beyond that, 27 million for Robin Van Persie. I think Alex Iwobi and Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain are our record sales. So 80 million quid. 50 million would even be our record sale if it was that. Ronald says 60 million plus for Tierney. Carl says, Tom, stop trying to tie Bailey in knots. Graham Berry Collins says, Pino and Tielemans, when are they happening? We've talked a little about Tielemans. What do you make of Yeremy Pino?
I haven't seen enough of him, but it's interesting to see how much he is worth for such a young talent. And of course, we do need a winger. However, I would say I would prefer Arnold Danjuma from Villarreal, and I was going to touch on that. Yeah, I'm a big fan of Danjuma. I think he would come in and really improve the Arsenal team. But again, Yeremy Pino is very highly rated. Of course, Liverpool also reportedly interested in him, which shows the talent he does possess. But again, it's interesting. We shall see. I don't think it's a deal that will happen before the end of the window.
Yeah, I will be surprised if we bring in Yeremy Pino or a wide player. I think centre midfield is the more likely area that we'll see. It's going to be interesting as well. I mean, I did a piece and talking about this with Kai yesterday in our press box show about how and where Fabio Vieira plays. If he plays in midfield, potentially that means our targets is very much more in a wide area. If Fabio Vieira comes on, say, for Bukayo Saka and plays on that right-hand side, perhaps then our focus is more in central midfield. But I mean, where do you think Fabio will play? I mean, you don't have to say that you know, but where do you think?
Yeah, I don't know, but I feel like he could play on the wing. I think that coming in from the right-hand side, that could be a definite option. Or again, for Erdig, it's tough to say. I don't think he'll play in midfield. I don't think he'll play a part of a three. If he does play midfield, he'll definitely be in a more advanced position early on in his career anyway, because I know he's got a lot of bulking up to do. He's got a lot of course, if it's a physicality factor, I think it is a thing in the Premier League. So I think in the early days, he might play on the wing, but he could shift in to be filled. But that is interesting, actually, because that definitely does, I think, impact our transfer business for sure.
Yeah, I think it does. We'll have to wait and see where he plays. As I said earlier, you'll be able to watch Mikel Arteta's press conference on the channel just after it finishes, probably around 2:30 this afternoon. So make sure that you are tuned in with those notifications turned on. That's going to round us off for today. I'm going to press you for a prediction, though, for Leicester. What are you going to go for?
I'm going to go with a 3-0 Gunners victory. Jesus to get his first Premier League goal at Emirates Stadium as well.
No, nice. Yeah, I said 3-0 as well. Hat trick for Jesus? I don't think so. I think he'll get on the score sheet once or twice. That'd be quite nice. Yeah. But yeah, look, he needs to get a goal, because if he doesn't, I think if he doesn't score in the first 2 games, you'll see the narrative start coming out. Oh, he's not scored. You know that's going to happen. So I think, getting a goal in this game is going to be absolutely key for Jesus. Woody's going for a 2-0 win right now. So there you go. VW also going for a 2-0 victory with his prediction for the game tomorrow. Steve says selling Tilly for 50 million, considering that his injury prone, is a good price. The club be making a £25 million profit on him to do that, which is a fair point. And Schrodinger's cat flap going for a 3-1 victory as well. It's a shame we can't keep the clean sheet. Got to keep that clean sheet run going. We'll try and concede less goals this season than last season. Keeping one at Crystal Palace is no mean feat, trust me, and we managed it. So Saliba to boss again. We'll finish off with Umar's prediction of 3-0 as well. And Graham says Jesus hat-trick and Tielemans OG at a 4-0 Arsenal win. I love that narrative goal. We'll see you again, guys, very soon. Bailey, thank you so much for coming on. Appreciate your time as always.
Thank you, TC. Thank you, everyone in the comment section. Also, make sure to tune in for the post-match reaction for the Arsenal-Leicester. I'm sure it's me and Umar who will be covering that. So make sure to tune in for that.
Yeah, I've got a rare match day off and I couldn't get a ticket. Unbelievable. But I'll be enjoying it from wherever I am. Thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. We'll see you again very, very soon. And as always, keep following us down the Arsenal way. 49, 49, playing for the Arsenal way.